What's up, Gran Turismo fans? Welcome back. So you guys are gonna need a little bit of context for this race. So this was on Tuesday afternoon and I queued in to do some races after having done some time trial. And the first two races I did, this one being the third, the first two races I did were not particularly competitive for my level. So Valerio Gallo, who is currently in P2, Gran Turismo World Champion, World Tour driver, qualifies every single year. He was on pole, I was behind him. There was one other fast driver in the lobby, but through reasons that I don't think were his fault, he got tangled up with drivers behind him and wasn't able to keep pace with myself and Gallo. In the first race, Gallo was using the NSX, which is his manufacturer car. I don't think it's as fast as the RCZ is here, but I opted to not attack him, so I just stayed in his slipstream, just stayed with him for the whole race, and that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, I always tell you guys in videos, it's better to try and learn from faster drivers than it is to try and attack faster drivers. So you don't get too many opportunities to chase down a world champion without any pressure from behind. So I just followed him, sat in his slipstream for the entire race, bump drafted him, didn't attack, and allowed him to take the win. This also follows my rule number 3 from my Racecraft Race IQ series, which is take opportunities to win friends and allies. So I kind of felt like this was an opportunity to get an ally out of Gallo. I've raced Gallo before, but never really raced him. To put that in context, I've been in the same races as him. I've shared the same piece of track as him in the same train of cars before, but I've never actually had a one-on-one race with Valerio Gallo. So definitely an opportunity to try and win an ally, and I felt like I'd done that in the first race by just bump drafting him to the win, letting him take the win. In the second race, he switched to the VW Golf, which is a bit of a meme car in Group 3. It's got very good straight line speed, not especially great through the corners, and when the other fast driver had problems again, and it was just myself and Gallo, I thought, okay, alright, you know what? If you're going to go for meme cars, you're not necessarily expecting to be able to pull away. Probably a bit bold of me to say that, but that was my train of thought. So let's have a race. Let's go for a race. So in the second race, I allowed myself and Gallo to build up a little bit of a gap to the guys behind, who there seemed to be quite a lot of battling, so we built up a gap pretty quickly. And then after a few laps, I went for a move into the hairpin, which Gallo didn't defend. He gave me room, and he very quickly slotted in behind me and then bump drafted me for the rest of the race. So I was curious to see what he would do, and he bump drafted me just the way I teach you guys to do for the whole race, and then we had a little battle at the end, which I tried my very best to defend and to beat him, but it's Valerio Gallo. Of course, he was more likely to win that race than I was. So yeah, it was very easy races, but fun races to actually try and go toe-to-toe with the world champion, and also to see where he was stronger and where I was weaker, but also more than anything to hopefully win an ally, to sort of put my name on Gallo's radar as someone that he can trust, okay, someone he can work with. So that's the context heading into the third race of the afternoon, which if you look at the names on the left hand side, it suddenly became a lot more competitive. Everyone there on the left hand side can either run at my pace or faster. So I was heading into this race with the usual strategy that I would do, which is don't try to engage people early on. You can see that I've just sat in the slipstream for 7 laps. I don't want to be caught. It's for the same reasons you see other YouTubers talk about. Digit mentions this, Cyrus mentions this, particularly Josetti. Josetti's arguably the best driver in the game right now. We don't really want him to catch up, it's as simple as that. So everyone's just sort of sitting in the train and not doing anything at the moment. Now here's an interesting thing, a bit of a change of topic here. Have you ever heard people say that some cars have faster pit stops than others? Look at myself and Roslin as we exit the pit. So I entered the pits behind him, and as we exit the pits, our cars are merged. Now, it's not that the pit stop is actually faster. What it is that the McLaren has very poor acceleration in low gears, and the Peugeot has very good acceleration in low gear. So when you're still in the cutscene, when you're still exiting the pits and you don't actually have control of the car, the Peugeot is accelerating faster than the McLaren. And I've actually seen some people use that this week in order to make an overtake. And it crossed my mind, but given that this race was a lot more competitive and I was pretty sure Popcorn would fight it anyway, I just decided to sort of break the ghosting, break the merging, heading into the hairpin deliberately, and just resume formation. I didn't want to do anything to risk an incident. I wanted to try and bring home a position, a good result, I should say. I had been doing my best to try and help Bombardier behind me. As I said, he's a friend from PS4 days. And if he put half the time into the game that I do, he'd probably be faster than me, to be fair. But he sort of dabbles in iRacing as well. And I'd been sitting back off the slipstream because he'd started a couple of places further down. So I'd been hanging back as far off of the tail of the car in front as I dare to try and give Bombardier as much slipstream as possible to catch up. And it had gradually, slowly, inch by inch worked over about 7, 8 or 9 laps. You can see he finally caught up. It's not easy to catch up when you're 1.2 seconds back. It can be done. You need to put in really, really good laps, and you need to take advantage of the heavy concertina effect that is created by the custom slipstream. So heading down the back straight on lap 10, this is where moves start to get made. So Popcorn went for a move on Gallo and got himself into P2. Again, I don't want to battle too much, because if we do, then this is going to mean that the guys behind will catch up, specifically, I should say, Josetti, who is in P7 but has a gap in front of him to Bombardier in P6. So it is a 6-car train at the moment, which means you've got a decent chance of bringing home a top 5. Whereas if we let Josetti get involved in this, he is reigning world champion and very capable of working his way through to a podium position. Speaking of the custom slipstream, I had a heart in mouth moment heading into the hairpin here. There's a bit of a gap to Gallo. I didn't get the best exit and his car's faster in a straight line, but the heavy concertina effect causes me to make contact with Gallo. Thankfully it's just a kiss, it's literally just a love tap right there. If that had been any harder, then I might have had to be waiting up for him. So yeah, that's why I really don't like the custom slipstream. Alright, so heading down the back straight for lap 11, and this is where the fun begins. 10 points to you if you can tell me where that quote's from. So Popcorn lined up to go for a move on Simin. Simin took a defensive line and Popcorn pulls off. Credit where credit's due. This has got to be the move of the week. Outside of 2 turns to line himself up to be on the inside of the next one. Fair play, credit where it's due. Heck of a move to pull off, it really was. So this was the spark that lit the fire. I was expecting everyone to wait a couple more laps, but no, apparently we're all going now. So I tried to follow Gallo through there, but I couldn't do it without making contact with Simin, so I had to back out of it, which gave Barlu, I'm going to go with Barlu, that gave Barlu a perfect switchback on me. But exiting the last corner side by side is going to mean that they're both going to get a bad exit. And Barlu doesn't have a slipstream. So what does that mean? That means we're going 3 wide, ladies and gentlemen. I had to use my quick look, so I was looking to my left-hand side here with the quick looks to see where Simin was. But thinking ahead, the problem here is that if you give the driver on the outside room, he's going to have a better exit on this hairpin, and he's going to have the slipstream. And I was thinking to myself, man, if only I had a slipstream right now. Okay, Valerio Gallo, let's go, buddy. Thank you. I can't be 100% certain that this was returning favours from previous races, but I can tell you it's not the first time that exact situation happened this week. I'll tell you more about that in a moment, as we just have a quick look at a replay here, because you can see that Popcorn spins out So we jump straight to a replay and see what happens. Very easy mistake to make. The corner that you have to cut the grass, if you push a little bit too hard over that corner, is very easy to get yourself to spin and put it into the barrier. So an unfortunate end for Popcorn there. And after all that, suddenly finding myself in P2. So as I was saying, I can't be 100% certain that Valerio Gallo was choosing to work with me, choosing to give me the slipstream, because I had demonstrated that I could be a worthy ally to him. It is possible he was just trying to get us to fight by trying to keep us alongside each other and therefore benefit himself. I've certainly done that myself, but also, as I said, it's not the first time that exact situation happened this week. In a previous race on Monday, I was battling with Manu Rodri and Algebron, and a lot of guys know that Algebron can be a little bit edgy, and in that exact situation Manu Rodri chose to give me the slipstream so that I could get past Algebron, in what was unarguably clearly preferring to have me behind him for the last couple of laps than Algebron behind him. As I say in my Racecraft Race IQ videos, it's all just a little bit too coincidental for it to not be rule number 3 working. I might be wrong in this exact instance, but if you practice rule number 3, then it does come back to you eventually. People do return that favour to you eventually, and not just in top split. I know a lot of you guys are going to be looking at this going, okay Luke, but this is World Champions, World Tour drivers, this is top split. But I've been doing this since I was a B-rank driver. I've been trying to make friends with people on track, and I've had people that I've worked with at all ranks. So as I said in my last video, it does work. Trust me, it definitely does work. It just takes time to build up the rapport and the alliances with different drivers that you're racing with on a regular basis. I took a slightly defensive line into the hairpin for the last time, just to make sure that I wasn't leaving myself vulnerable. The Peugeot has much better low down acceleration than the McLaren, but the McLaren has an incredibly good 5th gear. So not looking to go for another move here to try and fight for the win. I gave Gallo a bump draft just to let him know that I wasn't going to try and attack. He still takes a slightly defensive line, and I don't blame him for doing that. I did the exact same thing myself, just trying to consolidate the positions that we've got. I'd had some really good races with Gallo. He helped me to P2, so I was just trying to hold on to P2 now rather than risk going for the win and potentially losing 2nd place. Simin had a little look down the left hand side there, but there wasn't really room and he backed out of it, and he had shown me a lot of respect in this race, so was just trying to do the same thing and make sure that I cover off any potential lines. So again, going into the last corner, took a slightly defensive line, but looking at Simin's body language, I don't think he was trying to go for a move at this point either. And then, as you often see in my videos, drivers flashing hazards and headlights to say thank you for the good race. So once again guys, thank you very much for watching. Get out of here and go race.